I didn't like being black.
Really?
Yeah, I hated being black. I'd always hear people say black girls are ugly. Black girls are so, like, all this other stuff. Never understood why.
This video is about white parents with biracial children, like children of color. And right now, we'll be talking about some kind of identity crisis that they're facing. Hearing the words that this girl is uttering really give us that sense of like curiosity. We want to know really what are these people facing and what leads them to this identity crisis.
That's hard.
I didn't like anything about being black. I tried so hard to be white, but it's like, why did you can't, like, you cannot be white. Like, there's just not gonna be a way. So if I could go back, I would wish.
Do as we do here. This is a viral TikTok video, and don't forget to give me a like, subscribe to the channel for it to be pushed by the algorithm. Give me a like, please, a like, and also leave me thoughtful comments. Remember to observe the community guideline. Do not post anything that does not align with the community guideline. Thank you so much for supporting my content.
Together. Okay. So what about this? Oh, and this. Oh, what about that? And that. Oh, what about this one? I did that. I did those. Those are my kids. I did my children's hair.
Shout out to all parents raising biracial kids. We appreciate your efforts. But let's look at some of the points that are raising a lot of concern.
Being raised by a white mother left me very ignorant, but also anti-black for many years in my life. And that's not something like I say with pride at all. I say it with a lot of shame. Now, I know that because of how I was raised, like, and because my dad didn't do his job as a black man, like being married to a white woman, that I guess it wasn't like my fault as a kid. But the more like work that I'm doing and the more, I don't know, I stepped away from like my mother, the more that I am just sad, because I see all these ways that I was just being me. Like, I was just being the black biracial daughter that she had, but she made me shrink myself and made me fit into the spaces she wanted me to fit into so that she was comfortable and so that I made everybody else comfortable. And one of those things was like not wearing a bonnet like outside of the house or anything like that. Like, I remember we would like, you know, go to the stores and stuff, and if she would see especially a black woman like with her bonnet on, like she would say like such awful things that I'm not going to repeat. And I remember as a kid never understanding like what's the problem with that, like what is the problem. But the more that her hate and ignorance was said to me, the more that when I would go out and I would see like a black woman or a person of color with a bonnet on, I would think like, why are you coming out of the house like that? Like, that's not appropriate. The more that I wear and protect my hair in and outside of the home, the more my curls stay good and like stay healthy, not good, stay healthy. And now there's no shame, and there's nobody coming up to me saying anything, there's nobody looking at me funny. It was just my mom's own internal hatred for women of color, and the fact that she felt so confident to and proud to say those things around her biracial daughters that influenced my brain to think that it was an issue when it wasn't an issue. And I always knew it was an issue. But when your mother that raises you continues to be so toxic, I guess your brain starts to change.
That's something. I never knew that parents of biracial kids have some kind of hatred to black people. Maybe, what do you think about this? Let's try to resonate on this, around this story, and see what the problem. Like, is this true? Is this real? What I'm thinking about? How can they be hateful toward the people of color when they are raising them? But then, could this story lead to such attitude? Because this is another video that had raised a lot of concern on TikTok. You can see the comments are really many on TikTok right now, and as you can see, people are trying to react. But what led her to say this? You're not allowed. This is heartbreaking. Having biracial kids doesn't give white people the right to use the N-word. Maybe they feel like they shouldn't be using it because of how they're being treated. Should that be the reason why this girl is like felt like it's a ground for me to just time for me to open up and just tell her not to say the N-word because she has no right. Because if you can only always express hatred towards black people and you're raising them, or people of color and you're raising them in your house, what do you think should be their response toward them, even in the house as you're living with them? So I want you to listen to this clip carefully. Also leave your thoughts. Remember to observe the community guideline. Thank you so much.
But you're white and you say the N-word. I'm just telling you not to say it. That's it.
Well, I'm not going to have my child tell me what I can and can't do. Sorry, it don't work that way in my life. No, I was raised.
Yeah, that's the thing. You were raised differently. This is a new generation. I'm just saying you can't say that.
I'm telling you, you can't live here. So how about that? So you tell me I can't say something. You can't live here.
You're being over dramatic.
No, I'm tired of being disrespected by you.
I'm not disrespecting you by telling you, as a mixed person, telling a white person you can't say that.
That lets me know you don't have any fucking love for me, Asia, or you wouldn't feel that way about me saying that.
What?
You wouldn't feel that way at all.
I don't have any love for you because I don't want my white mother to say the N-word.
You are picking me out. You are racial profiling against me. White. That white person can't say that.
No white person can say it, not just fucking you.
Just tell your dad that you're moving in.
No.
Yeah, or then you need to find somewhere to go. Because I don't want you here.
I'm being kicked out because...
Yep. I'm racist. Tell him that.
I know it was hard listening to that clip, but let's look at solutions. What are some tips that people have come up with? How can we help these kids with identity issues, crisis, and how can we help these mothers handle these children with even much more care so that they feel like they're really part of them?
And my mother, thank you to my mother!
Since we're on the topic of white moms and biracial kids, I've said it once and I'll say it again. Fucking a black man does not make you black. Having biracial children does not make you black. It does not give you the pass to say the N-word. Does not give you a pass to be ignorant. Thinking you're somehow better than black women for sleeping with a black man is abso-fucking-lutely not the flex you think it is. Your biracial kids are not a fucking trophy. They're literally human beings. It is a choice not to educate yourself. And when you choose not to, you are choosing to give your children identity issues. You cannot say you love your biracial children and shit talk black people. You cannot say you love your biracial daughters and shit talk black women. And if you do, you cannot be surprised when your kid goes no contact with you when they turn 18. God damn, it's not that hard to get. I had a biracial man tell me the other day that his mom took him to Great Clips until he was about 13 and she got a boyfriend that asked her what the hell she was doing. Some of y'all's kids' hair hasn't been done in 6 weeks. Walking around looking like a damn rat's nest. Like it's the bare fucking minimum for you to learn how to do your child's hair. Bare minimum. I'm tired of seeing these grown biracial children coming on here talking about the horrible shit y'all have said to them. Talking about the horrible shit that y'all's racist ass family said to them. If you know your family is that racist, why would you be having biracial kids? I really
What I'm also finding hard to understand, how would you have biracial kids when you're talking shit about black people, people of color, or whatever? Do you have any thought on this? Because things are really getting bad. But let's keep going. Let's get uncomfortable. Let's resolve some issues here. Leave your thought in the comment section. What are you thinking? What's coming across your mind? Tell me.
Going out your way to learn about a certain type of culture that you put me into it. So you have to learn.
You have to.
So you know what I mean? Like, I didn't ask to be here and I didn't ask to be black and white. And you know what I mean? So like, it's not up to, when I become a certain age, it is up to me to learn about myself. But up until then, it is up to the parent to instill those things in that child, because that's why there's so many issues in the Black community today. Like, even if you're not mixed, you have identity crisis because you don't know where you come from.
Social worker, and I'm in an interracial relationship. As the main caregiver, you have to understand that your child will have full access to your culture because of the amount of time you're going to be spending with them, but they will not by default have that same access to your partner's culture. So in order to serve your child's identity needs, you need to foster opportunities for your child to have access to your partner's culture. Otherwise, that's going to cause a lot of issues in the future. This is part of a conversation that my partner and I are already having about our future kids. Because I will be the main caregiver and I'm Pakistani, my children will have full access to language, culture, art, food, all of that stuff. But we're trying to find ways for them to have access to his culture, which is Eritrean. We've talked about the possibility of my mother-in-law living with us and helping me raise the kids so they can learn the language, eat the food, get that care. If that's not possible, I need to find other resources for my future children to be able to access their Eritrean culture. Culture is a huge part of identity, and if you're in an interracial relationship, you got to be ready to step up to the plate.
That really sounds great. We are approaching the solution. So keep listening.
I really can't emphasize this one enough. Stop raising biracial children in predominantly white environments. If their Black parent is involved in their life at all, they need to be their access point, obviously, to the Black community. But if they are not, it is your responsibility, unfortunately, to work even harder to make access points for your child. You cannot have access points if you live in a predominantly white environment, if they go to predominantly white schools. This is something I've been seeing a lot in my comments, and there's not really a way to phrase it in a single comment that's not going to hurt somebody's feelings. One of the biggest issues that biracial children living with their white parent alone face is being brought up entirely in white spaces. How can you expect a biracial kid to not have identity issues if they're never around fucking Black people? If their view of Blackness is only coming from the perspective of whiteness? But aside from where you're raising your child should see you, their white parent, uplifting their community. You can't really just go make a child with a Black person and then never involve yourself in the Black community again. Well, I mean, you can, obviously, a lot of white women do that, but you shouldn't. I'm going to prioritize this one in order specifically for y'all. Do the work of anti-racism, and then go get you some Black woman friends. And to add further emphasis, do not befriend Black women to do the work of raising your biracial kid. Here's the way that I like to frame it. I seek friendships with people who share my interests, my values, my ideals. Due to the point that I'm at in my path deconstructing white supremacy along with my upbringing, it tends to be Black women. Usually Black women about 15 years older than me. I find it an added bonus that my child can look up to these women, can see how beautiful and amazing they are.
How did you find that? I find this lady so thoughtful, and she made so many more videos on the same topic. I'm gonna pick some clips of different videos she made so that I don't really bring a lot of her here, though she has really cool stuff that she's really bringing a lot of wisdom when it comes to racism and all these things that she doesn't see as a problem. Like, if we would have people with such mentality, I think we would have been in a different, better, cool world. Maybe we should have not even be here speaking about this right now.
Children who are being actively damaged by their white parents, I'm gonna do that shit. Because it hurts me to my core, the stories that I've heard from biracial adults about their white parent. But what really makes my ass itch is the fact that you're defending a woman who literally alluded to lynching a Black woman.
Alright, this is the clip that she's trying to respond to. Let me play it right now.
I wish Black people would stop looking to white women like you to be able to speak up to young white girls like this when this young white girl grew up in the way that she grew.
Why are you more angry about that than the fact that it's happening? Why are you more angry about me speaking than what's happening to biracial kids? I have a mutual on here whose white mother told them that she only had biracial kids so that she could have personal slaves. I've gotten thousands of comments on one of my viral videos about white parents of biracial kids, of the horrific experiences that they had with their white parent, specifically white mothers. being called the N-word, having their heads shaved, being abused, being taught to hate themselves, and being so lost and broken with no positive representation of their blackness in their life whatsoever.
That sounds so harsh. It sounds harsh. But yeah, until we get to the core, let's wait and see. We get uncomfortable to find comfort. And that's what we're doing here. So stay tuned.
I've helped white foster parents learn how to care for their biracial foster child's hair. And I have spent years putting my time and energy into the efforts to help white women do better by their mixed kids. That is why I have the level of respect that I do.
Got a couple comments about this, essentially teaching children to live in a victim mentality. Nothing about teaching biracial kids what anti-blackness is and what it looks like in systems such as like the world's white standard of beauty is teaching a child to be a victim, especially when the way that this is done is uplifting the child's blackness by showing them positive representations of themselves, teaching them positive parts about black history, not just the negative, teaching them that just because the world has tried to frame blackness as lesser than or ugly or whatever does not make it true. Personally, every parent of every child of any race should be teaching them that blackness is beautiful, but especially black and biracial children, because it should not destroy their self-esteem to hear a comment about their hair, skin, or Afrocentrism, because it's far too optimistic to say that these things won't happen. When I discuss race with my child, it's usually while we're playing Barbies. When she picks up a white doll and says this is the prettiest Barbie, and I ask her why. And she says, because it has blonde hair. And I said, what about blonde hair makes it the prettiest? And when she doesn't have an answer, I say, the world has tried to teach you that blonde hair and blue eyes and white skin is the prettiest. That's what they try to teach everyone, but that doesn't make it true. I explained to her that black skin is beautiful, that it's there to protect you. I say, how awesome is it that you can go out into the sun and not get sunburned? Because I don't want my child to walk into the world and someone say one negative comment about blackness and her internalize that for the rest of her life. For it to follow her in the way that she views herself. I want her to be able to look at those comments and say, that's based in something that is wrong. And there's nothing wrong or bad about my blackness. The way that I see it, if I do not teach my child to love blackness, I leave space for the world to teach her to hate it. I don't have to put my child into a victim mentality to teach her to love blackness, or to be prepared for the world to try to tell her otherwise. What some people will call a victim mentality, I call resilience. Nobody should be able to shake my daughter's love of blackness with one comment. That's the point. You absolutely cannot leave room for the world to teach your child whether or not black is beautiful, because 9 times out of 10, it will teach them that it isn't. They need to know up and down through the core of their being that it is beautiful, that it is strong, that it is powerful, and that it cannot be broken. Not by ignorant comments, not by beauty standards, not by anything. I don't know how you can frame that as being a victim. I see it as strength and confidence in who you are.
I didn't want to stop, but thank you so much for your time. I appreciate that you watched this extent. Subscribe, share, like the video. Don't forget to leave your thoughts in the comment section. Bye for now. I appreciate your precious time.